Willow Creek looked like the perfect neighborhood, white sidewalks, blooming cherry trees, and smiling neighbors who waved as you passed. But beneath that picture perfect calm lay an undercurrent of control, courtesy of the Homeowners Association and its self-appointed enforcer, Karen Whitmore. SH was the type who believed SH was protecting the community by monitoring everyone else's business. Her porch camera wasn't just for security, it was for surveillance. When Marcus Turner moved in, SH noticed immediately. A tall, confident black man with a firefighter's build and calm demeanor, Marcus carried himself with quiet pride. He and his wife, Dennis, a 911 dispatcher, had worked for years to buy this house, a fresh start after years of saving and sacrifice. To them, Willow Creek represented peace, stability, and the American dream. But to Karen, it was her territory, and Marcus was an intruder. The first time SH saw him, Marcus was unloading furniture from a moving truck. Karen approached him, clipboard in hand, asking sharp questions. Are you sure you're in the right house? The Johnsons sold this property just last week. Marcus smiled politely. Yes, ma'am. My wife and I just closed on it. We're the new owners. Karen frowned. Oh, I see. You'll need to register your vehicle with the HOA immediately. And you'll need your contact info for the resident directory. Marcus thanked her, but something in her tone made his stomach twist. It wasn't a friendly introduction, it was an interrogation. Over the following days, her scrutiny intensified. SH took photos of his car parked in front of his own home. SH noted the time he took out the trash, even emailed the HOA board to complain that a new residential lawn wasn't uniform with community standards. Marcus tried to law it off, but Dennis saw that all it took. She's just nasty, Dennis said one evening. I know her, people like that feed on reactions. Marcus nodded, but deep down, he knew this wasn't simple curiosity, it was prejudice dressed as neighborhood concern. A week later, Karen confronted him again as he was bringing groceries inside. Excuse me, SH barked, guests are not allowed to use the front gate without permission. Marcus turned, holding a bag of produce. I'm not a guest, I live here. Karen folded her arms. Then show proof. HOA regulations require identification for all residents. Marcus stared at her, incredulous. I don't owe you proof of anything. Have a nice day. Her face flushed crimson. Excuse me, you can't speak to him like that. I represent this neighborhood. Marcus walked past her and shut his door, his patience finally thinning. That night, Karen typed a furious email to the HOA board, accusing Marcus of being uncooperative and possibly unauthorized. SH even claimed he might be living under a false lease. The next morning, SH stood on her porch, sipping coffee, watching his house like a hawk, convinced SH was exposing a fraud. But what SH didn't realize was that SH was the one under watch. The HOA president had grown tired of her antics, and neighbors had begun whispering about her obsessive behavior. Yet Karen was too proud to see it. To her, Marcus was the problem, not her paranoia. As the days went on, Marcus remained calm and dignified, aware that her next move would escalate everything. What started as petty interference was about to turn into a neighborhood scandal, one that would shake the illusion of harmony in Willow Creek forever. It was a quiet evening in Willow Creek, the kind where crickets hummed and porch lights glowed softly across its manicured lawns. Marcus Turner was returning home from a late grocery run, humming to himself as he carried two heavy paper bags. He had just finished a long shift, volunteering at the local firehouse, tired but content. As he pulled into the driveway, headlights flashed across his car. Karen Whitmore's silver SUV stopped abruptly at the gate. Marcus noticed her struggling with something, SH was punching buttons on the keypad repeatedly. The gate's light blinked at each time. Finally, SH stepped out, clearly frustrated, waving her phone. When SH spotted Marcus walking toward his house, her face twisted in irritation. You sir, SH called out sharply. You live here, right? Open the gate. I left my card at home. Marcus post meets T. Yun Witter to lower sigh. Sorry, mom, I can't do that. The HOA gate systems T to your account for a reason. You'll have to call maintenance or security. Karen Stone immediately shifted from unawareness to entitlement. Excuse me, I'm telling you to open it. I've lived here for 12 years. You think I need permission in my own neighborhood? Marcus shook his head, staying calm. I'm just following the rules. The same ones you're always reminding everyone about. That remark hit her like a slap. Her face flushed crimson, and sh clenched her fists. Don't get smart with em. You think you can just ignore a resident like em. You don't belong here anyway. Marcus exhaled slowly, realizing where this was going. Mom, please, go home. I'm not arguing with you tonight. But Karen was far from done. Her eyes darted toward her phone, anger and humiliation swirling inside her. In her mind, Marcus was disrespecting authority. To her, this wasn't a simple disagreement, it was defiance. Within moments, SH was on the phone with 911. Her voice shook as SH dramatized every word. Yes, I need help. There is a man refusing to let M into my gated community. He's blocking M and acting aggressive. I'm afraid for my safety. On the other end, in a dimly lit dispatch center across the town, Dennis Turner's headset beeped, 911, what is your emergency? SH said routinely. The moment SH heard the caller's words, a chill ran through her spine. The location, the description, the voice. SH muted the line and whispered to her supervisor, wait, that address, that is my neighborhood. Her supervisor frowned. You sir, Dennis listened again. Karen continued. He's tall, African-American, wearing a gray shirt, standing near my car. He won't let him through the gate. Dennis's heart dropped. SH knew that voice. That description. It was Marcus. Trying to maintain compa, Dennis unmuted and said calmly, Mom, stay where you are. Officers are on their way. Then, as soon as SH disconnected, SH turned to her supervisor. She's lying. That is my husband she's calling about. Her supervisor's expression hardened. We'll handle it. I'll assign officers who can defuse this. Dennis's mind raced. She'd heard hundreds of calls like this, weaponized fear, bias wrapped in fake distresses. But hearing it aimed at her husband hit differently. SH called and just sit back. SH called Marcus immediately. Marcus, it is M. Don't move. 2 officers are coming, my guys, trust them. Just keep your hands visible and stay calm. Marcus' voice was steady but weary. So SH really called the cops on M, huh? Yeah, Dennis said softly, her voice trembling. SH has no idea who SH is just messed with. Meanwhile, Karen stood near the gate, rehearsing her story, practicing a tearful voice, ready to play the victim. SH believed SH was moments away from proving her suspicious neighbor didn't belong. What SH didn't know was that the dispatcher SH had just lied to, the one sending the police, was the very woman married to the man SH was trying to frame. And by the time those flashing blue lights rolled into Willow Creek, Karen's story was about to crumble. Under the weight of truth. The night air in Willow Creek was thick with tension as the distant wail of sirens drew closer. Blue and red lights reflected off manicured lawns and polished mailboxes, painting the calm neighborhood in shades of chaos. Marcus stood near his driveway, his groceries still sitting on the hood of his car. His hands rested at his sides, open and visible, just as Dennis had instructed. Karen, standing several feet away, put on her best performance. SH dabbed at the corners of her eyes, passing nervously beside her SUV. When the patrol car pulled up, SH waved both arms dramatically. Officers, over here, that is him, that is the man. SH shouted, pointing toward Marcus. The 2 officers, both calm and composed, stepped out. They'd already been briefed by Dennis's supervisor. They knew who Marcus was, a retired firefighter, community volunteer, and the rightful homeowner. But they had to follow protocol. Evening, sir, one of them said as they approached Marcus. Mint if we talk to you for a moment. Marcus nodded. Oh, of course, officers. I live here. My name is Marcus Turner. He reached slowly into his pocket and pulled out his ID and housed it upon his phone, setting both on the hood before stepping back. Karen's eyebrows furrowed. He's lying. He doesn't live here. I've never seen him before tonight. The other officer glanced at her. Mom, can we see your ID? Karen blinked, surprised by the question. I'm the one who called. Yes, mom, the officer replied evenly. We just need to confirm everyone's identity. Standard procedure. Karen hesitated, fumbling in her purse, her confidence faltering. I live just down the street. 104 Willow Bend. The officer checked the database and nodded. Alright, but according to HOA records, Mr. Turner OWNS 108 Willow Bend. That is this house. Karen's mouth fell open. That can't be right. The Johnsons lived here for years. They sold the property 3 months ago, Marcus said quietly. To us, the words hit her like a slap. Her hand dropped to her side, phone still recording. No, this isn't, you must have tricked someone. You don't just be here. The first officer said, crossing his arms. Mom, I think there has been a misunderstanding. But Karen wasn't ready to back down. SH stepped closer to Marcus, voice raising. You're threatening him. You're making him feel unsafe. Before the situation could escalate further, a familiar car pulled up to the curb, Dennis's. SH stepped out in her dispatcher's uniform, badge clipped to her chest, eyes focused and full of quiet fire. The officers recognized her instantly. Dispatcher Turner, one of them greeted respectfully. Karen blinked. Dispatcher, wait, you're with the police. Dennis approached calmly, her voice low but firm. Karen Whitmore, right. You called 911 tonight. Karen straightened, sensing authority and mistaking it for support. Yes, thank goodness you're here. That man, Dennis interrupted sharply, is my husband. Silence fell like a hammer. Karen's mouth hung open, her voice cracking. What did you just say? Dennis stepped closer, meeting her eyes. You called 911. You lied. You said he was threatening you. You said he didn't belong here. But this is our home. The address you gave, that is our house. You wasted emergency resources, and you put an innocent man's life in danger. My husband's life. Karen's bravado melted into panic. I didn't know. I just thought. Dennis didn't raise her voice, but every word cut deep. You thought wrong. You saw a black man and decided he didn't belong. That is not a misunderstanding. That is a choice. The officers exchanged glances, one of them quietly activating his bodycam for the record. Karen tried to defend herself, but her words tangled and broke. I didn't mean to, it is just, I was scared. Dennis folded her arms. You weren't scared. You were angry that someone didn't obey you. There is a difference. Karen's shoulders slumped, the false tears gone now. The officers told her to file a report for misuse of emergency services, and that the HOA would be notified of the incident. Neighbors had started to gather quietly on nearby porches, whispering, watching the self-proclaimed HOA enforcer crumble. Marcus finally spoke, his voice calm but steady. All this, because I wouldn't open a gate. Karen looked at him, shame flickering across her face for the first time. But it was too late. Her reputation was unraveling before her very eyes. As the police left, Dennis turned to her husband and exhaled shakily. You okay? Marcus nodded slowly. Yeah, I think we both handled that the right way. SH smiled faintly. You always do. Behind them, Karen stood frozen in her driveway, her world suddenly smaller than it had ever been. SH had no idea that the night's events, the 911 call, the footage, the threat, were already spreading across the neighborhood chat and would soon reach far beyond it. The morning after the confrontation, Willow Creek buzzed with gossip. Neighbors who once waved politely to Karen now avoided her eyes. Word spread fast, faster than SH ever imagined. The officer's bodycam footage had been logged, and though it wasn't public, the story had leaked into the HOA group chat. Screenshots of her frantic 911 calls circulated, and soon, whispers turned into judgment. Karen woke up to find a storm outside her door. Her inbox was filled with HOA members demanding an explanation. Is it true you called 911 on a homeowner? One message read, Karen, this is unacceptable, wrote Anneter. SH slammed her laptop shut, trembling with rage and embarrassment. They don't understand, SH muttered to herself. I was just protecting the neighborhood. But deep down, even SH no longer believed that. Michael, Marcus and Dennis sat on their porch, trying to process the chaos. Local reporters had begun reaching out, and their neighbors were dropping by to apologize, bringing flowers, cookies, and awkward smiles. We're so sorry we didn't stay in sooner, one woman said softly. We saw how SH treated you, we just didn't want trouble. Marcus nodded politely. He didn't want pity, he just wanted peace. Thank you, he said. Maybe now, things will finally change. At the next HOA board meeting, the tension was palpable. The room was full, residents who usually skipped this gathering shaved up in droves. Karen sat in the front row, stiff and silent, while the HOA president cleared his throat. Due to recent events and multiple complaints, we've decided to remove MRS. Whitmore from her voluntary role as neighborhood liaison. The crowd murmured, some clapping quietly. Karen stood abruptly. You can't do that. I've dedicated years to keeping this place safe. A man in the back replied dryly. Safe from what, Karen? People moving in. Her face reddened, but there was no defense left. The president continued. Furthermore, the HOA board will be implementing bias and conduct training for all members and residents, effective immediately. Karen sank back into her chair, defeated. The community SH tacht SH controlled had turned its back on her. That night, her for sale sign went up quietly on her front lawn. No one waved goodbye when the moving truck came a week later. For Marcus and Dennis, life in Willow Creek slowly returned to normal, but it wasn't the same kind of normal as before. Their neighbors were more open, more cautious with their assumptions. People who once crossed the street to avoid small talk now greeted Marcus warmly during his morning walks. Dennis began hosting weekend gatherings, inviting families to connect rather than judge from afar. Months passed, and Marcus proposed a new initiative at the HOA, a neighborhood safety and awareness program built on trust, not suspicion. Real security doesn't come from fear, he said at the first meeting, it comes from knowing your neighbors. The board approved it unanimously. One evening, Marcus and Dennis sat together on their porch, the sky glowing orange as the sun dipped below the trees. The air felt lighter, like the community had exhaled after holding its breath for too long. You ever think about what would have happened if you weren't the one who picked up that call? Marcus asked quietly. Dennis turned to him, her expression soft. Every day, SH said. But maybe it had to happen this way. Maybe people needed to see what bias looks like, up close. Marcus smiled faintly. You think SH ever realized what SH did? Dennis looked out at the quiet street, where children rode bikes and neighbors chatted over fences. Maybe, SH said. But by then, the lesson wasn't for her anymore. It was for everyone else watching. As the porch light flickered on, they sat in silence, hand in hand, watching the neighborhood they had fought to belong to finally start to feel like home.